Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope all of you are studying well for your Jan 2025 exams. Let's quickly revise CARO. If you've already studied CARO, this will definitely be helpful, especially for that one day before exams. I will keep it as short as possible, as quick as possible. Let's jump into the subject, guys. So the first clause is talking about fixed assets. Here we have 5 points. The first 2 points is talking about records of PPE and records of intangible assets. Now, if there is PPE, there should be physical verification happening. That is the second point, physical verification, whether it is done at reasonable intervals. Next is fixed assets. Who is having the title of this fixed assets? That is the third point. For this, there is a format which is given below. Description of the property, gross carrying value, who is having the title, whether that is promoter, director or relative or employee, for how long they are having, that is a period held, and why is it not being held in the name of the company. That is the third point, whether the title deeds of the immovable property are held in the name of the company only. Now asset goes for revaluation. If this asset has gone for revaluation and that revaluation percentage is more than 10%, more or less, they have only given us change is 10% or more, then please mention here under CARO. Next is, if there is a proceeding against the company under the Binami Transactions Prohibition Act and rules, please mention here. So like I told you, fixed assets has only 5 points. The first one is talking about records, second is physical verification, third is title of the immovable property, and fourth is if there is any revaluation, and fifth is Binami Transactions Prohibition Act. Now the second clause is talking about inventory. Under that only 2 points. The first one is physical verification of inventory, whether it has happened, and if there is any discrepancy, what is the percentage of the discrepancy. If it is more than 10%, please mention separately. The second point of inventory, it is very, very important, whether any point in time, if the company has received a working capital loan of more than 5 crores from banks and financial institutions, then they have to file the quarterly returns with the bank. Now, as an auditor, we have to check whether the quarterly returns is agreeing with the books of accounts which is maintained by the company. That is the second point, where the quarterly returns are in agreement with the books of accounts. If not, please give details for the same. Clause number 3 is talking about LIGs, loans, investments, guarantees and securities which is provided. Under that, few points are again there. The first point is talking about the loans outstanding, loans with respect to the loans, advances, guarantees, securities which you have given to subsidiary, joint venture and associates. Please mention that separately. Or loans, investments, guarantees and securities which have given to other than subsidiary, joint venture and associates. Please mention that separately. Now whatever loan that we are giving, it should not affect the interest of the company. That is the next point. It should not be prejudicial to the interest of the company. Now, will you just give the loan and wait for him to give the money? No, there has to be a repayment schedule. That is the next point, which is schedule of repayment, whether it has been stipulated. Now, if there is any loan which is given and it has not been repaid, if it is more than overdue more than 90 days, please mention that separately. Now, if there is a loan, existing loan, now that loan has been renewed or extended or fresh loan has been granted, then please mention the percentage of the aggregate to the total loans or advances. The last one is, if there is any loan which is repayable on demand only. To whom you will usually give on demand loan? On demand loan means I am giving the loan, whenever I want I will take it back. There is no repayment schedule and all here. Usually to friends, to related parties only you will give the on demand loan. If you have given any repayable on demand, please mention the amount, percentage, promoters, whether they are promoters, whether they are related parties, please mention all of these things. The fourth clause is leaks provided, very easy. Again, section number 185 and 186, whether they have complied with, you have to check. Clause number 5, deposits, very easy. Section number 73 to 76, whether they have complied with. Clause number 6, cost records. Section number 148, subsection 1, whether they have complied with. Now coming to clause number 7, which is talking about statutory dues. When you talk about statutory dues, there are two parts to it, whether it is under dispute or it is undisputed statutory due. Dispute means you have paid something to the government, but government is not happy. Government feels like it needs more. If it is a situation like that, then you have to mention on account of what is the dispute, what is the amount involved, and where is it pending, whether it is tribunal, income tax appellate tribunal, or it is high court, or it is Supreme Court. That is the forum where dispute is pending, you have to mention. The second part is talking about undisputed statutory dues. That means you have not paid to the government. Now, what is outstanding for a period of more than 6 months from the date they become payable? That is undisputed statutory dues. If it is outstanding more than 6 months, then please mention that separately under CARO. Clause number 8 is undisclosed income. That means in the previous years I have not recorded it, or I have not disclosed that income, and in the current year I have surrendered or disclosed that. So what effect is it having in the previously unrecorded income? Whether it has been recorded properly in the books of accounts during the year or not, we have to check. That is clause number 8, undisclosed income. Clause number 9, again a little big clause, which is talking about repayment of loan. Now, if the company has received the loan, now whether the company has defaulted in the repayment of loan or borrowing, whether the company is a willful defaulter. Willful defaulter means I have the money, but I'm saying I will not give the money, like Nirav Modi. If he is a willful defaulter, then you please mention that separately. If you are getting a term loan, say housing loan or whatever loan, it has to be used for that purpose only. So please see whether the term loans were applied for that purpose for which it has been obtained. Usually if you get a short-term loan means within 12 months. That means benefits also from that loan will be received from 12 months and you will be easily able to repay. If you are going to use the short-term loan for long-term purposes, that means you have to repay it within 12 months, but benefit from that loan you are going to get it only after 10 years. How is that possible? You will not be able to repay properly on time, correct? So whether short-term loans have been used for long-term purposes, please mention. Say a company is taking the loan, but not for itself. For subsidiary, joint venture or associate, the company is taking the loan, please mention. Or company is taking the loan, pledging the securities of subsidiary, joint venture or associate. Mention that also separately. That only is these 2 points. Where here, subsidiary, joint venture or associates, I am taking the loan, routing it through that company there. Or I am taking the loan from them, using them as collateral and taking the money. So both points has to be covered here. This is clause number 9. Now, if the company has been defaulted in repayment of loan, format is again given below. To whom you have to pay, name of the lender, what is the amount, whether it is principal amount or whether it is interest amount, what is the number of days it has been overdue, all of those things you have to tell. Clause number 10 is issue proceeds. Issue proceeds means IPO or FPO. IPO and FPO also, when you are taking the money from the public, there has to be a purpose. You will be showing the purpose in the prospectus and all. That purpose only you have to use for that money for. So whether it has been used for the same purpose or not, you have to tell. And here also there is a section number, section 42 and section 62. You have to remember for clause number 10, issue proceeds. Clause number 11 is fraud. Fraud here has 3 points. The first point is talking about if there is any fraud on the company or any fraud by the company, then please mention the nature of the fraud and also the amount involved in the fraud. So sometimes what happens is, even in class also it will happen, somebody will be sleeping, there will be one person who is showing like that, ma'am, he's sleeping, ma'am. They will tell like that. Same way in a company also, there can be some employee who is basically blowing the whistle and telling everyone that there is a fraud happening here. If there is a whistleblower complaint, whether the auditor has considered the same, that you have to check. Now the second point is talking about one important section called 143 subsection 12 of the Companies Act, where the section is talking about if there is a fraud by the company, then please check the amount of fraud involved. If it is less than 1 crore, then the auditor has to go and tell the audit committee and the board of directors. If it is more than 1 crore, then the auditor has to go and directly tell the central government in form number ADT4. Please take it as very important, guys. Clause number 12 is Nidhi Company. Nidhi Company has 3 points, very easy. The first point is talking about net owned funds is to deposit ratio they have to have as 1:20. The second point is talking about they have to maintain unencumbered term deposits of at least 10%. What is the meaning of unencumbered term deposits? So usually I am taking the deposit, I can pledge that deposit and take something else. Now whatever deposit I am having, I should not pledge for at least 10%, they are saying. Last point is if there is any default in repayment or payment of interest, please mention the details thereof. Clause number 13 is talking about related party transactions. Very easy. Section number 177 and 188, they have to be complied with. Clause number 14 is talking about internal audit. Internal auditor, if he is there, then please see whether it is commensurate with the size and nature of the business. Size of the business is so big, only one internal auditor. Is that going to be effective? Definitely not. So that is only seeing whether it is commensurate with the size and nature of the business. If there is any report of the internal auditor, then the statutory auditor has to consider that report. Clause number 15 is talking about non-cash transactions. This is section 192. Whether it has been complied with, you will have to see. Clause number 16 is talking about RBI registration, whether the company is required to be registered under section 45 IA of the RBI Act. You have to see if the company has undertaken any financial activity, banking financial or housing financial activity, then it does not have a valid certificate from the RBI. You will have to mention whether this company is a core investment company, you have to see, or if it is part of a core investment company and in that group there are more than one core investment companies. Please mention the number of core investment companies. If you mention more than enough. Cash losses in the current year or in the preceding financial year, if there is any cash losses, please mention the amount of cash losses. Clause number 18 is resignation of statutory auditor. Simply a statutory auditor will not resign and go. If he is resigning, that means there is a problem there. So what is the issue? What is the objection that he had? Is there any concerns? All of those things you have to take it into consideration. So if a statutory auditor has been resigned, issues, objections and concerns which is raised by the outgoing auditors, you have to see. Clause number 19 is talking about going concern. Going concern means you have an assumption that the company will go on forever. So the auditor has to make sure that there is no material uncertainty and that the company is able to pay off all its liabilities which is arising during the period of 1 year's time. Clause number 20 is talking about corporate social responsibilities. Here we are splitting it into two. The first is other than ongoing project and ongoing project. Ongoing project means something is already happening. Then please mention it under 135 subsection 6. Please follow all of those things. If it is other than ongoing project, then 135 subsection 5. Here time limit is given. 6 months to the expiry of the financial year in compliance with 135 subsection 5. Like that you will have to write. Clause number 21. The last clause is consolidated financial statements. Whether there have been qualification or adverse demand, that means if it is part of a consolidated, part of a group, any other company, if there is a qualification with respect to CARO, then please give the details of the company and what is that clause number that they had a problem with, para number of the CARO report. Now listen here guys, after the 21 clauses I want to tell you one important thing. Now whenever they ask you a question in CARO, you have to definitely start like this. Clause number what of para 3 of the company's auditor's report order 2020. Only if you write like this, you will get the full marks guys. So please make note. I will also give you this material where you can use later on for you to refer. Material will be given in the description box below. Now CARO is not over, 21 clauses is over, but applicability is still there. Ella panni kadasila manda mela irukra konde, you should not forget. Now every company, including a foreign company, CARO is applicable, but there are a few exceptions. What are those exceptions? Let's quickly see. If it is a banking company, insurance company, Section 8 company, one-person company, or it is a small company, then CARO is not applicable. What is this small company? Small company means if paid up share capital is less than 4 crores and turnover is less than or equal to 40 crores, then we will call that as small company and CARO is not applicable for them. If it is a private limited company, ma'am, is CARO applicable? Yes, CARO is applicable for private limited company, provided if the paid up share capital and reserves and surplus is more than 1 crore, if the borrowings is more than 1 crore, if revenue from operations is more than 10 crores, then CARO becomes applicable. So in that exceptions, you are saying banking company CARO is not applicable, insurance company CARO is not applicable, Section 8 company CARO is not applicable, one-person company CARO is not applicable, small company we already saw limits, CARO is not applicable. For private limited company, if paid up share capital and reserves and surplus is less than or equal to 1 crore, CARO is not applicable, borrowings less than or equal to 1 crore and revenue from operations is less than or equal to 10 crores, CARO is not applicable. Now, two things you have to keep note here. Borrowings which they have mentioned less than or equal to 1 crore, you have to see the borrowings at any point in time. Now, revenue from operations less than or equal to 10 crores, you have to include even discontinued operations here with respect to revenue from operations. Now, if there is a private limited company, there should not be a public limited holding company and a public limited subsidiary company. Basically, you're saying if it is a small company, if it is just a one-person company, CARO is not applicable. But if it is a private limited company and falling under the limits only, but the holding company is a public company, now it automatically becomes a big company, so CARO becomes applicable. The private limited company who has a subsidiary of a public company, then also CARO becomes applicable. That's why I put here, public company should not be in the holding place also, should not be in the subsidiary place also. If a private limited company is standalone, then only CARO becomes applicable, guys. I hope the quick revision was useful for all of you. Please let me know in the comments below if you want any other chapter the same way to be quickly revised.